See what he comes back with here on the 2-2. Oh, perfectly done.
Up to the left side, Alvarius comes over right at the railing. Oh! And makes a great catch! He ended up in the first row. Alvarius ends the game with the defensive jam of the afternoon.
All right, it's K-Zone Podcast, Episode 5. We're here at the farm on the side porch. We got James Lancaster joining us, first time on. We got J-Bo right here. Tonight is duck season eve for the 2023-24 season. Got some pretty good plans tomorrow. Got a nice hunt set up and small camp compared to normal, but we got a few guys driving up. We got Blaine driving up, and I think Nate and Wynn are driving up, but it's going to be 6 or 7 of us in the morning, 6 guns. We're either going to be hunting some trees. Probably some trees. Trees. Probably hunting in the trees. But yeah, we just rolled over to
trees, baby.
We just rolled over to camp. Been doing some deer hunting. Ruck's been recovering from a concert last night.
God have mercy. It's been a tough day.
So we all got over here pretty late. We're pretty much just kind of hanging out, getting our stuff together, getting ready to gear up for tomorrow morning. But we just decided before we went to bed, let's hit a podcast. We got James in camp.
Hell yeah.
And,
I'm excited.
And I know for a fact he's got some good stories that he's wanting to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your life.
I'm just kidding. We don't have anything set up, but
Hopefully some good cooking, too.
some good cooking. So
Cheese Bay.
what our plan is really for tomorrow is I think we're just going to get up, hunt a slough over in East Arkansas. Not exactly going to say where.
No.
Hunting
Nobody
at a
needs
slough.
to know, but they can watch it later.
Hunting at a slough over in
we'll
East
see all
Arkansas,
together.
and I don't want to jinx anything, but we've got more ducks in that slough than we've had this time of year in years past.
Since
knock on wood.
2019.
That's right. And I mean, really though, like even if we go there and don't shoot a single duck, like it's just nice to be back out, and that time of year's here. So hopefully a few more podcasts are going to start rolling out. We haven't done one since Canada. I think our last one was in the decoy spread in Canada with Kevin. It's crazy to think that's been over a month. So it's here in Arkansas, and we're ready to get it kicked off.
Oh, man, we couldn't be more excited.
See y'all at the McCrory gas station about
Man.
5 o'clock
yeah.
for some biscuits.
Get you
Dog.
some biscuits that you know you're going to run through in about an hour later, finding a tree to sit down on.
That's Nate. Well,
That's
Nate's not
Nate,
going to be at
baby.
McCrory. He's just driving straight to win.
Good
So
He's
uh,
gonna
be
thing.
grabbing that bumper.
Well, good thing, because I got toilet paper if he needs it.
Hanging off that bull bar. We got Clark W. up here on the TV. I don't know if they can see that in the frame, but
'Tis the season, baby.
yeah, you can see it.
got a fire, got some Clark W. Let's start off with just a little intro real quick. I know Ruck's been on a bunch of podcasts, and James, he born and raised in Memphis.
That's right. Born and raised in Memphis, went to Cordova High School. I played football at the University of Central Arkansas. Played a couple years of arena football after that. Came back to Little Rock and then moved to Memphis and I guess you could say did CrossFit competitively or professionally. Did that for a while, and I've just always been in touch with, Josh, and we had similar interests, and we just kind of kept talking to each other, and before we know it, man, we just started hunting together, and then here we are, man.
Just to
We're
butt
at
in,
camp.
real quick. I was at your wedding last
That's
year,
right.
and literally everybody at the table that I was talking to had met you through Instagram.
Yep.
There was
It's crazy.
James out there
Well,
grinding, boy.
hey, but what's funny, man, I don't know. What's funny, you say that. I fought being on Instagram for a long time because I went through that phase of I did the MySpace and all that.
Right.
And like Facebook, I was like, you know what, I'm cutting it off. I'm not doing it. And a buddy of mine was like, man, you better get on it because the times are coming. So I freaking, dude, I'm serious. So I get on there. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. And then before you know it, I'm running like 3 of them now. One's my business, and then one's a personal page, which has gotten me all kinds of just different like connections, and then another one's a coffee company called Bloodhound Provisions. Shameless plug, but
We'll put the logo up right here.
exactly. But yeah,
It
man,
is good stuff, though.
That's crazy. I did not even think about that. Everybody at my wedding's off of Instagram.
No, I was at a table. There was a guy, your buddy from Alaska, that you
That's
go up
right.
there and hunt with. Him and his wife were there, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd seen James on some CrossFit stuff,
Yeah.
and And I saw that he had some deer and some ducks, and we just started talking. And before you know it, now you did his wedding, I'm pretty sure.
I did. I officiated his wedding, and I've never been so damn nervous in my life. But I got more handshakes after that ceremony than like
kill
any
it?
other time. Oh, they loved it.
Well, sweet. You'll do mine too.
I'll do it.
And Ruckers.
I will.
In
I can't
We're going to be
2026.
great headed by the time I get married.
I'll just do it at the same
2026
time.
is coming up, baby.
Why don't y'all have a dual wedding?
There we go. There we go. So, James, tell us about what you do now in Memphis, your business, and then go into kind of Kings of Grit.
Oh yeah, dude. I've probably got too many things that I do, but I am passionate about a lot of stuff. I've got a CrossFit gym called Deep River Fit. Opened it in 2019. I just had a certain way that I wanted to, lead a group of people, and fitness is a big part of my life. Just from a longevity standpoint, it used to be kind of more performance, and now it's just kind of like being active and helping people and being healthy. And really, as cheesy as it sounds, it's a community thing. Once you get older and you start to kind of like, not necessarily need to perform so much.
No, you still got to stand up and pick anything up.
Yeah, exactly. There's like work to be done, right? I mean, we laugh, but losing the ability to sit down on the toilet is an actual thing. And if you don't practice like, loading stuff in your truck or, squatting and pressing and hinging and doing all those things, you don't get to hunt much either. No. So we definitely don't want to do that. I mean, I'm very blessed that my dad's super active and he can continue to do stuff like that. But there's guys out there that goes, and boy, it is a rude awakening. So
There ain't no turning back once it goes.
Yeah, once you can't go do things that you're super passionate about, like hunting, it really starts to hit home. So that's what I really like to focus on in the gym is just like longevity, movement, community, those types of things. And then Kings of Grit is my nonprofit that I have. I've been going into the jail since 16, 17. And we mirror corporate structure with fitness and competition. So basically, like, we get together in teams and compete against each other, but you have a team leader who has, like, guys that he coaches and teaches. No different than a manager who's got a team of people, like in a corporate space. In the corporate world, you've got a mission statement and core values. Literally, no matter where you go, someone has that so that we're all kind of on the same page. So just the meat and potatoes of just like business, corporate structure, that world, and kind of correlating fitness and competition with that. It's just extremely similar. And we've all played sports, and we know what that does for us, like as kids. And just using that. I mean, damn, dude, you go to any Google meeting or just pick any Fortune or S&P 500 company, they do team building. Because it works. Like, it's a real thing, and it works really good. So I'm able to just use fitness and competition and, like, hard work and dedication and being relentless, just having the relentless mentality and just using that of teaching each other. And that's just been, like, a huge gratifying thing, and it's just something that, my city personally just, needs. So that, love to hunt and fish, and here we are. I got buddies that I get to hunt and fish with, man. I could not be more grateful, like, to just drive over and hunt. Like, we pass it off because it's just what we do. Man, there's just a lot of guys, girls, whoever, like, that just really would love to be in this space, and I'm just grateful that I'm here, to be honest with you.
Right.
Thank you.
It's always a good time.
Yep.
Every time.
Now, Kings of Grit, I've seen like stuff that you've posted. You don't only go to the prison to help them, but when they get out, do you help them get jobs or?
No, absolutely. There's different companies that like reach out and want to kind of like be a part of like an apprentice style program, whatever. These guys after the fact, after they leave jail or the system, if you want to call it, man, they're ready to be loyal. The guys that I deal with that I have relationships with. I mean, it's no different than like, you getting, resumes off of like Indeed or something. I mean, you're going to have those turds in the punch bowl. But, if I'm able to like co-sign on these guys, man, I've got like an untouched labor pool. Like guys that run like forklifts and heavy machines and like construction and plumbing, like just you name the whole industry. I mean, those guys, there's not a whole lot of that coming into the world. Mm-hmm. And not to take a tangent on like economics and just kind of where we will be going as a country in the next generations. But man, tech school is just not cool anymore. And, you know, giving them an opportunity to do that is huge. But at the same time, I've got a guy who has written 3 volumes of a book. He self-published one of them already, like through Amazon, and he works for Nike and Polo, and he's like, he crushes it. He got straight A's through to get his GED. Like, he's got a car, he's got a kid, like, he's doing everything. And then there's another guy who works for Heavy Machines, who's on the wash rack, who they're trying to expedite into the system to, like, eventually work on him. But he runs a detail company also, and they're having to tell him, like, hey, man, don't wash the machines that much. Like, what's up, Randy? Don't wash the machines that much. We need to, you know, it doesn't have to be that clean or whatever. Because, I mean, the dude's like, I mean, if he could, he'd take a freaking toothbrush to, you know, these teeth on the freaking excavator. Like, he would,
Right.
He does all that cool stuff. So, man, there's just so much unused potential in there. And it's like, you know, I'm trying to correlate that to, you know, just the same things that we had the ability to see and deal with as like kids, like either dads or coaches or mentors or whatever. Like, man, y'all know that shaped us.
Well, yeah, and most of them like missed out on that opportunity. But is it more? It's probably more guys with like lesser, not maybe like misdemeanor, like lesser sentences type stuff. Or
Man,
are you doing?
You know what's funny? It's everything.
A little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, I got dudes that did armed robbery, like all that stuff. Now the hard guys, like, you know, that are on the 4th floor, like, I'm not really around them as much, but like the 18 through 24-year-olds, I mean, it's everybody. I mean, and half these guys, bro, like, when they get involved in stuff like that, it's, you know, it's pride. It's really
Kind of gives them a purpose again,
man. And two, getting into stuff like this, it's not. Some of them have families. Like, it's not all what we think it is. But like, there's a book that my wife got me reading called "The Body Keeps a Score," and it's about trauma. And like, you can have an elongated period of trauma. You can have a short period, like a super crazy event. And what happens is your body will remember that trauma, but your mind doesn't, because your body disassociates. So what happens is like, even if it's a long period of time, well, you'll lose memory of that, but your body will stay connected to that and remember it. So for instance, we go somewhere and there's a guy that's like postured in the door. There's like lights a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And you break out in hives, or you start crying, or like, you know, you just like you start feeling really weird. You don't know what that's all about, but you were like molested as a kid. So like, you don't remember that. And now when you start to go to therapy, because you've been in and out of jail 6 times, you've got this candida overgrowth in your gut. It's like a bacteria. All of us have candida, by the way, in our gut to help us. But if you have an overgrowth, it leads to all kinds of other symptoms. So imagine having that and not having a freaking clue what that is. And your whole life, these foods give you inflammatory response. You're fighting depression, anxiety, you know, itchy skin, like all this crazy stuff from your trauma. And then like you're acting out and you're in and out of jail, all because of like one event. And that's a real thing. Like, people do that. And what's funny though is, to tie kind of like all this in, the book talks about, one, talking to someone about that said trauma. And it's really not just like this crazy, like, oh, I was molested as a kid trauma. It could be like your relationship with your dad.
Yeah, it can be anything.
And being very like a traumatic thing. Like, I just watched this documentary with Sylvester Stallone. Has anybody watched that?
What is it?
Oh, dude, you got to watch it. Just Sylvester Stallone, his story with Rocky and all that. And dude, the relationship with his dad was just like, it was hard to watch sometimes. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say, book talks about, one, talking to somebody about all that stuff, but two, a regular exercise routine helped these people get over this stuff. So not only talking to somebody and like processing it is the word, but a group exercise routine of some kind, whether that be yoga, walking, workout, whatever.
dude. That's kind of wild. I was actually worked out the other day and was sitting in the sauna. I had my headphones in, so I wasn't playing anything, but I was listening to what everybody was talking about. And about the depression thing, there was this kid in there who was talking about like working out just to be healthy. He's like, I was on depression meds for 12 years.
Bro, I'm telling you,
and
man.
then started working out, and he's like, I don't need them anymore. Did you go in there and you start to feel better about yourself?
Dude,
and
Movement is medicine.
Well, and it's because look, the science is there, and there is a big wave of all this stuff happening. Like everything's coming full circle. Like we are built on like a pharmaceutical heavy, system. And functional medicine, or just like, hey, like, one, understand what your trauma is, but like, hey, we probably need to sleep well. We need to drink enough water. Let's have a colorful plate. Let's have enough protein, but then let's also decrease your stress, because cortisol, which is your stress hormone, is a catabolic hormone. If you have a elevated cortisol all the time, always, oh, dude, you're going to be so out of whack, because your body wants to be like that mixer right there. It needs to be at certain levels. And the minute you yank a hormone this way or throw a hormone that way, it's like downshifting really hard. Like you're pulling everything out of whack. So, and sometimes you don't see something for like 3 years. But boy, when 3 years happens and you have had elevated cortisol for that long, dude, thyroid issues, digestion issues, freaking, you have, depression, anxiety, all this stuff. It's crazy. So
Is this stuff that you talk to those guys about in Kings of Grit? Like, do you kind of educate them?
Oh yeah. You do the basic stuff, but like, man, dude, we take it differently because we've gone through like college athletics, and we've had like coaches, strength coaches. We have access to Instagram. We have access to blah, 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 whatever. But like, man, dude, I really just want people to understand kind of like the different world, and then just the language that's spoken just in different parts of even your city, even in Little Rock, just how people process decisions. It is absolutely insane. Just the way that they view things. And it can be anybody in the world, to be honest with you. It can be someone from freaking DRC, Congo, Ethiopia. It can be Mexico. It can be New York. It can be freaking anywhere. It can be 30 minutes away from each other. I'm not kidding. It's crazy. Just how someone who's like, affluent and just, has access to so much, different information, and then someone who's literally got like 10 people in their house. Like, it's just crazy, just the amount of like, just the difference in how things are processed, and the lack of just like knowledge. We call it common knowledge, just the knowledge about your body and health and fitness, and like, hey man, like, dude, you probably shouldn't be like drinking that like 4 times a day. That's actually not good. But they don't know. They have no freaking clue. And not to mention like the grocery store access, like what you get at the grocery store, like eating unflavored Cheerios and water, or eating peanut butter and syrup on like white bread, and like that's all you ate for the day, or just like it's exhausting to even think about, because it's like, man, can you imagine operating like that? Like,
No way.
it's just wild, and like you compartmentalize all that, and you just like survive. So that's really like what it is. So yeah, when you talk about that stuff, it's just kind of like, damn, hell yeah, that's what's up. I didn't realize that. And you're like, yeah, man, I got you. Like, this is blah, blah, blah. And then once you empower them and they have knowledge and they can move well, and like, man, I've never had them fight in there ever. Like, they've never fought. They may talk shit, because like we all talk shit. Like when we're boys and we're like competing against each other, oh yeah, we talk shit all the time. But it's great. There's no fighting. There's no nothing. Like, I got guys that like rep different sets and all this stuff, and they're like buddy carrying each other like around the gym. It's cool, man. I have a blast doing that stuff.
Is there one specific jail you go to? Or
Yeah,
is it
it
you
was.
hit 'em?
Well, it was 201 Poplar for a while, but ever since COVID, we've kind of taken a break from there, and then we've gone into we're working on a deal with Mark Luttrell Transition Center, which is good because it's a transition center. It's a state-run jail, and they have phase 1, 2, and 3. I would be with them for phase 2.
So that's like they're on the way out.
Yeah,
but
so phase 3, actually, they go to and from there. They go work and then back to their like cell, and like it's a cool program.
How do you how do you help them with starting over? Are most guys like getting out and starting over, like they don't know what the outside world is?
Bro, there's different levels to it. Like I said, I got one guy who gets out and like publishes like 3 books, and you're like, what?
Right.
You know, you got levels like that, but then you also got guys who, man, trauma, you know, going, you know, I got one guy who went up to like try to make, not amends, but gain a relationship with his dad up in Illinois, spent all his money, ended up like taking showers in like a Dollar General bathroom and like whatever, and then like comes back. He's facing like 25 years for just being involved with some stuff. Like for instance, when you knock off a pharmacy, it's a federal offense. So like if you knock off like a CVS or something like that, like a Walgreens style CVS, it's a pharmacy. So you get something like 25 years per offense. Damn. So imagine you knock off like 3 in a night for like $150, and your life is forever different.
Right, right.
So like he goes up there, boom, but his dad was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm like married to these streets, blah, blah, blah. And he comes back, he's facing 25. Luckily he went through like a halfway house, but I'm saying all that to say, like, imagine I'm coaching you to like go do this business, or like, hey man, we can do this, this, and this. And you're like, man, tomorrow I could like, life would be over. Like, so you're fighting, like trying to keep him motivated. And it's like, there's just this onslaught of thought, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's just levels to it. There's guys that are just great, and there's guys that I'm kind of like, hey man, like I got you. And you literally text them and call them like multiple times a week. Say, hey bro, you good? Like I got a guy that I just always stay in contact with, but he's always got something going on. It's not really his fault. So I just like, for instance, he wants to make it so bad, bro. Like he's going to work. This dude Ubers to work every day.
Damn.
Where do you think he's?
Awesome.
All of his paychecks going to Uber.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, I'm saying all that to say, imagine how hard it is to just pull your boots on and just like go to work. Like there's just a lot going on. So we just have to change kind of like our mentality and just understand, hey man, there's levels to it. Look, don't get me wrong, there's shitheads in there. Like I've been like looked at and like somebody won't shake my hand or whatever. Like I get it. It's all good. Everybody's got their different, view. They've been through something different. They may have like gone through something. Like, hey man, I'm not here to like tell you how to think and feel or whatever. But, it's just an empathy thing. It's an empathy and grace thing. It's like, man, they won't ever see, sometimes you're the only Bible anybody will ever read. So I try to make sure that I'm like, hey man, we have to start with like the big picture here. Like, I'm not worried about what you did. We're all in here. Like, it's time to kind of like start completely over and go a different direction. So yeah.
It's legit. I didn't know about any of that.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so much.
Go on for hours.
So the biggest thing I want people to take away from is like, hey dude, empathy, grace, and ask why first is all I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, dude, let's say dude like armed robbery, held the gun out, did all this thing. Man, dude, you'd be so surprised what kind of stories like I hear and know like it's crazy. Like, I'm just going to add it because like now that since we're on the topic, I want y'all to know like just what childhood trauma like can like encompass. Like, one of the guys found out his dad was his dad when he was 12. So imagine, you know how like you're a sponge, right? When you're in that age, like picture Little League, blah, 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 and like everybody's saying like that's your uncle. And then at 12, it's like, no, that's your dad. And then like your whole world is flipped upside down. Then on top of that, your mom is fighting with all the other family members because she's like, no, that's his kid. So they're like fighting to blah, blah, blah. And what do you think he feels like? Oh, it's all my fault. Just imagine. And then imagine like, nah, man, you need to do right. Like, you're just like, you're going crazy. You're like, how are you expecting that guy to like do all that, act right? Imagine some dude from freaking New Guinea. I'm talking like leaves as a freaking dress, kilt, all that stuff. And you want him to go into a freaking 5-star restaurant and know how to order food and act right? It's crazy. Like, I'm telling you right now, man, the way people process decisions in some parts of the city and speak and like their mentality on life in general, man, dude, it is just such a place that you just wouldn't even expect. And they feel the same way about us. Like, what? Man, that's nice. I didn't know that, blah, 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 blah. You know, like, I had guys, like, that I mentored, like, in Little Rock, Josh. We'd drive from their part of town out to D1, and they'd be, like, pointing at houses. And oh, man, I want to live there. Oh, man, I want to live over there. And it's not, like 30 minutes away, dude. And they didn't even know that was there.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, not knowing 10, 15 minutes from your house, like, it's just
a whole different world.
It's a whole different world. So, like, the trauma is real, man. So just understanding, like, hey, man, everybody's got a story is really what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Including us.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. On a different topic, let's go to some duck hunting stuff.
Hell yeah.
Did you just grow up?
Bro, these dogs are gonna chill, man.
Did you grow up
Trying to be
hunting
on the
Wayne
podcast,
Gill
dude.
for the most part?
Man, that's a great question. 8 years old, dad and them, they would always hunt tunica. So those boys were hunting out of boats all the time, like permanent blind on the boat, rolled down the burlap on the side, you know, get some limbs and stuff like that. They would do all that stuff and then have the white Johnson 25s. I mean, they were just, dude, 1542 War Eagle, Johnson 25. Y'all see all the old videos like Kurt McCullough and them running them white Johnsons like that. That was just such an iconic like motor
was the
back
ticket,
in the day.
man.
They all love that. Man, so that's what we used to do when we hunted, man, and it was a unique experience. And I remember being young, hunting out there. When you're young, your dad doesn't buy you the nice stuff, or they didn't really have nice stuff back in the day.
That was back in the neoprene days, dude.
They didn't.
That's-
Not
that was
only,
before
hey,
that.
not only that,
That was
like
before
when you
that.
grew up, like when you're growing up super fast, like you grow out of stuff. So he just bought me kind of the cheap stuff. So like, imagine 17 degrees in rubber boots.
hard pass.
Dude, but we had like space heaters and stuff. I'll never forget. I had to take my boots off and put the heater on my feet, and I'll never forget I feel like my coming of a manhood as a duck hunter. I picked up that single shot, freaking crack open 20 gauge.
Oh yeah.
There was a freaking hen. She swooped in. Nobody saw it but me. I was just like, I was freaking shoes off. I picked up that gun, bow, and freaking fell down. And
Kind of like you did that wood duck.
yeah, dude, that's right. And nobody saw it. That was a cool experience. So really was doing tunica quite a bit. Took a break because I was going through college football and all that stuff, traveling, doing all that jazz. And then, man,
You can go get him.
college.
What is going
Go get him on the
on?
podcast.
Dude, this is
Put a headset on him.
ridiculous.
College, chasing public land, doing Black Swamp, doing Biomeda, doing Dagmar, and then doing Rex Hancock up there over what's that river?
Black Swamp.
Black River. Sorry. Doing a bunch of that stuff, running to the hole, great times. Then you get to an age where you're allowed to travel a little bit. I've been to Canada, Montana, all kinds of stuff. But man,
That Montana. Freaking
Montana.
Hannah, Montana over here.
Montana.
No, that Montana hunt looks sick though.
Oh, dude, Montana's great, dude. It's yeah, they talk about the flyway shifting and all that stuff. But man, I don't know, brother. The plains, they kind of got them, dude. Central, Kansas, but Montana was great. Can you imagine living it out and just you got mountains in the background?
No, yeah, those
Crazy.
pictures
It's
were
kind of
cool.
it's kind of hard to beat. And then you got your dog running around grabbing birds. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's all different too. Like that's why we like going to Canada so much. Like we don't ever hunt dry fields down
100%.
here. Just
Change the scenery.
change the scenery. You don't have to put waders on. It's awesome.
And just perspective. What's funny is like all of them just ooze over trying to come hunt the timber. Like,
Yeah,
they
dude,
just,
all of them.
Which I get it, because man, you talk about, man, there is literally nothing better. You're hitting your call and dogs jumping in the water. It's all echoing through the trees. Like there's nothing. killing ducks with leaves on the trees is just like, that is the top for me. But it's funny too. Another thing about perspective, I hunted with some guys in Kansas from New York. Dude, there was 2 snow geese flying over, and they just went ape shit. They're like, "Oh man, snow geese," and we're just like, "Bro, you can."
That's
have
pretty much
all
like
that
that's pretty much like Dustin was
You
his
can
first few times
dude,
up here.
that's what
Boy,
I'm
he
saying.
freaked
and
out.
And dude, we're like, dude, those are freaking sky pigs. What are you talking about? We don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but that bacon, I wouldn't eat bacon off a snow goose, so it tastes like shit.
Dude.
Yeah, hell yeah, bring me that snow, boy. We're going to cook some
100%.
bacon.
Dude, they went absolutely crazy. So, yeah, man, that's what I grew up doing and hunting. And I deer hunted a little bit late just because I didn't really have a ton of access. Like, public land duck hunting's a little bit more accessible than, like, deer hunting in the South. But, just through relationships,
Through Instagram.
And got good at Instagram. and here I am hunting everywhere, dude.
Yeah, the deer hunting public land, I've just heard way too many horror stories of, like, even when we did it sometimes in Fayetteville, people they'll steal your camera, steal your stand, steal everything.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I'm glad that I don't think it'll ever, dare I say this on camera and on podcasts, I don't think that bottomland deer hunting is going to get popular because of how difficult it is. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it. But, like, hunting Kansas or, whatever, it's just different. Hunting deer in the bottoms it can be extremely difficult. I mean, just all kinds of scenarios that you have to think about.
It's like you were telling me earlier, the river is so low right now, you'd almost have to rappel off the bank just to get down there.
So you've got that. It definitely changes the way that they operate because, now they go all kinds of different places. If the river's up, they have certain pinch points. Like, I mean, the rut is probably different because of the hotter weather. I mean, you name it. The minute you go and you try to, pattern a certain area and you get a foot of water, over with. It's over with. Now, don't get me wrong. They'll walk through water. I've seen it all, like waist deep, over their neck. I've seen them do all that stuff. I'm not saying that they're not still back there. Literally overnight, patterns are different. Imagine you run cameras, and this is like if you have cameras. Imagine public land, bottom land hunting. Now, they're back there, and people do it. Don't get me wrong. But you really need to conceptualize how many hunts you will actually go on and even get a chance. For instance, back where I was hunting, I had this massive, massive deer. He was probably, like we talked about, like 160, 170. He was a mainframe. He was a mainframe 10. The biggest deer I've personally ever seen. So we're boating around, and I've seen him like 3 times. The first time I saw him back in like 2019, I was on my phone, of course. And then he's running a doe.
Probably texting somebody trying to line up a hunt somewhere.
You see what I mean? Yes, multitasking.
Yeah, dude.
He runs by freaking grunting, just grunting, going and running a doe. And I'm like, I've never seen a deer that big in my life. Next year, I'm like, oh, I'm hunting this deer. I am hunting the crap out of this deer. Well, I see him one more time in the boat, just kind of like scouting and running around. And he's got like 6 does with him. I'm like, oh, God, I've got to get in here. Finally get on a point. Boom. This is after at least, I'm not joking, at least 20 sits of nothing. And big deer, they don't run around with a bunch of other deer. So if you're hunting a big deer, be prepared. You won't see much, ever. Depending on obviously the habitat you're in. If you're hunting a food plot and there's like the buck to doe ratio, I'm talking about specifically the area that I hunted on the Langill. There's no food except for mass crop, like acorns and stuff like that. But there's no maybe I'll have salt, but it's like wintertime now. They're not really on that as much. So I'm sitting like all day, multiple days. I'm like, I've got food in the stand. I'm sitting all day. That's how big this deer is. And he finally starts to come in one morning. It's like 8 o'clock. I'm on a scrape, and I'm like, dude, I might have figured this deer out. Here he freaking comes. Oh, my God, here he comes. Oh, my God, here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. He's through this thicket, and then, boom, he sees something and bolts this way. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? I get down off my stand. I'm walking, kind of like where he was. I'm like, dude, what did he see? I'm looking over. I'm like, dude, what the hell is that gray thing right there? That's weird. It's my boat motor. And I'm like, yo, dude, I just ruined the best, like, this is the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life. And I literally just parked my boat on the different side of the point. Not to mention, this is the other thing, like, they'll pattern your boat. So, like, me going back there thinking I was going to see them, and, like, they're so smart, but I parked it on the wrong side of the point. If I'd parked it behind me and just got in the stand, you wouldn't have seen it. It was, like, that far off. The point went around, and I parked on this side. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to come from this side. Dude, he comes in, sees that, boom. Didn't say a word either. Didn't blow, didn't nothing. Those big deer, they ain't going to let you.
If he'd have said a word, I'd have
Dude, they ain't going to let you
been
know.
concerned.
Yeah. He didn't freaking blow or nothing. I was just like, God, dog, there he goes. And then I had another deer last year, similar situation. He came in, 2-mile-an-hour wind switch behind me. He freaking smelled something, knew something was up, never saw him again, and still have yet to get him on camera again. So just like to conceptualize, like just deer hunting the bottoms like that. Oh my
Dude, the
God,
deer
dude.
just taking it out on everybody this year.
crazy.
You got one that's messing with you.
today.
Nate's got one that's messing
Dude,
with him.
Yeah.
Nate shot his deer. He got
Yeah.
his chance. And
Oh, dude, he shot one made out of Kevlar is what he did.
he
Probably still living with a hole in him that big.
God.
and so Nate's deer's living right now, and he shot it opening weekend of bow season, September 24th, I think is when it was. Still alive. He's got 2 blades out of 3. Shot a Grim Reaper.
18 inches
18
of
inches,
penetration.
yeah. And so this deer is, I mean, he's got to be hurting.
Well, he's got a hole in him that big. You can see it on camera.
But he's just walking around eating normal.
Man, those deer are so resilient, man. It's incredible.
And then like today, I mean, the reason we got here so late, really, in the first place, other than you were dead.
We saw an ambulance that was carrying Garrett, by the way.
Anyways, this morning, I was sitting on my couch last night. I got a picture that this buck that I'm hunting's in front of my stand. So I hop up this morning and I sit till 9:30, hop out, go brush a duck blind, and I'm in the duck blind. Get a text or notification, and that deer at 10:27 is standing in broad daylight.
I hate to do
That's the first daylight
happens.
picture of that deer at that spot.
He had a little Mexican standoff with him, too, for 20 minutes on
I
camera.
remember that, too, yeah.
Yeah, and to Ruck's point, 2 weeks ago, I was in the rain. I was hunting a box stand. Really, the only way I could shoot was out my north windows. I had a south wind, so I had everything closed up. This deer comes in from 40 yards. He's behind an oak tree. He stands there for 15 minutes. He comes over and stands behind another oak tree and works his way in, and he stands head up with me for 23 and a half minutes. I have like a time lapse on my camera.
Dude, stands in the same spot, and didn't he stare in some direction for like
Just like
10
looked
minutes?
at him.
kinda
Could
looking
never get
around.
a shot.
Looking around, and then just kind of stared in my general direction until it got so dark I couldn't see him or the
that's
pins on my
wild.
bow.
That's so
One
wild.
point was full draw for 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And then he'd vanished for like 3 or 4 days, like gone. I was like, hopefully he's not shot, but he's either locked down with the doe
Probably.
or. So I just quit hunting for a few days. I hadn't hunted since last weekend. And then here he comes.
Here he comes. Dude, they'll do it. And that's why I'm addicted to it, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. And same with Andrew Bunce, my cousin. That arrow picture I showed y'all, the whole thing clean passed through, completely covered in blood. Never found it.
Golly.
But he's up, I mean, without tipping his spot off, is he like northeast? Is that where he's at?
Up northeast, yeah, I think it's on some public land up there.
I'm
And so that
telling you.
makes it even harder. It's not like private land where you kind of have these things patterned. It's like what you were saying. You get one, maybe
Bro,
2 chances,
I-
and you
I
do
hope-
your part, and
dude,
you
I hope
stick this
people-
deer and still
yeah,
can't
And
find
that's
it.
what I'm kind of sick at on my deer. It's like, should I have shot that deer through the front shoulder?
Oh, dude. Watching that video, I just picture people shooting elk like that.
Should I
and it's
shoot
just
him in
like,
the
man,
throat?
A deer that
Just couldn't
big.
do it.
You just can't risk it.
It was raining too, so it's like if I shoot him in the
Yeah,
shoulder.
No, that's another thing. Rain, blood's gone. Yeah, I get it.
So it's like if he runs off and it's like, okay, I'm going to give him 3 hours or whatever. That blood is going to be gone.
Yeah. 100% going to be gone.
Cash money.
Dude, I don't know what his problem is. He's all amped up for something.
He's ready to be on the
guess.
podcast.
He is.
I don't know if we got a headset
He's ready
big
to
enough.
talk.
I do have another question. You killed a grizzly or a black?
Yeah,
What is it?
killed a
brown bear?
I killed a
Brown bear?
coastal brown bear. I think it was
Tell us
2
about
years
that
ago.
hunt.
Yeah, I wanna
Because you were
hear- I
on a
wanna hear
moose
that
hunt,
story.
weren't you?
Yeah,
And then had
let's
a
talk
brown
about
bear
that.
tag.
That was So coastal brown bear, South Coast, near the Cordova area, and dude, we're on this moose hunt. We're we're walking this riverbank, checking for sign, and long story short, he turns the corner, and we're just like, bear. And the whole time I'm thinking, I was second in line. You know how it goes. Like if multiple people have tags, and you're like, second in line or whatever. So a buddy of mine, he shot his bear. We were trying to get a moose, and I know how long it takes to not only cape an animal and get all that stuff out. I mean, it's full day, and we were actually towards the tail end. So at first I was kind of like, well, I just don't want to mess it up. Y'all sure? Are y'all sure? Are y'all sure? The bear stands up. The bear's no joke.
James was like, Dad?
The bear stands up. I think the bear was like 20 or 30 yards from us.
How tall was it?
Well, he measured out at like 10.6.
God.
Which
What a unit.
Which is book. So like he made book. I think his skull was like 27 or something like that.
I remember seeing a picture of his paws
Right.
too.
That
Like,
paw.
just
Like
bigger
the
than your
size
head
of my
around.
chest.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
About the
crazy.
size of Cash's head.
That's right. So anyway, he stands up, and just imagine like the brown bear's head, like right at or above like a basketball goal, and just like how big that freaking
it's
bear
huge.
is. It's crazy. So shoot him, and I'll never forget. So I shoot him, and he runs off into the alders a little bit, and he kind of lets off this like roar. It was the most eerie, like prehistoric thing. Like as he expires, he like lets out this roar, and that's just kind of like it put it into perspective.
Kinda sick, actually.
Dude. It put it into perspective, like how big this animal is. And have you ever Googled and watched bears fight?
I've seen it.
Bro, dude, just imagine them doing that to you. Like these guys that survive these freaking bear attacks, it's just
Wild.
insanity to me.
Oh no, they're huge.
I mean,
with-
the claws on this thing were the size of my fingers, and his paw was like not like the size of my chest. It was the craziest experience. Huge bear, trophy bear, first bear ever, trophy bear, made book. I mean, I have no words for it. It was just absolutely insane, and the hide alone was like 100+ pounds. It was raining a little bit, but imagine 100+ pounds and just the hide. So it was crazy.
Did you get a rug?
Yeah, it's actually being made, and I've got the open mouth rug too.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be
It's gonna
cool.
be
And you're going to wear it in another Instagram post
100%
over your head.
Over my head.
Bro, if you don't show up to
The whole
camp
night.
looking like Leo DiCaprio next
Yeah,
year,
out of the Revenant.
Yeah.
I can't wait, dog. That's gonna be great. So yeah, the bear hunt was amazing. Alaska is truly special because Montana, rough country, like Idaho, even you can get into some serious trouble. Man, Alaska is just like so big and aggressive. Like just the weather systems and like the country. It's like
there's nothing. I mean, you hear it all the
dude,
time. People go up there every
it's
year
for
and get
real
lost.
the last frontier, and it's just crazy to be there and see and how fast the weather switches, and it's wild. You gotta be on your toes when you're in there.
Crazy. You went back this past year.
Yeah, did some fishing.
But you didn't hunt.
No hunting, but we did some fishing. We did some fishing for salmon on the salmon run. So the salmon, when they run up the Copper River like that, they do it off of like the magnetic field of the earth. So like the water isn't clear, but they bump up against like the bank, all right, and find themselves like all the way up the river to spawn and stuff. It's pretty remarkable, and it's like more salmon than you could ever like dream of. Like dip netting is a thing, and you literally, I'm not joking, you stick your net in there, and then you wait till they swim into your net, and you grab them out of the water.
Did you see any bears fishing?
Dude, sometimes 2 at a time. It's crazy.
See any bears fishing? Like the
No.
bears actually fishing in the river?
No, we weren't in that type of spot. There was too much traffic. There are, but actually, yeah, no bears in that specific area. That doesn't mean there weren't some, but they're just a little bit more remote than where we were.
Yeah, I've just seen like the
Oh,
Nat
yeah.
Geo
It's a
stuff where
real-
they're
no,
like
it's for
jumping
real.
and swimming,
Oh, yeah.
and they're
It's-
just nuking them out of midair. It's cool.
the real thing.
Yeah, one of
dude.
these days you'll see James on there
just
full Tarzan mode.
Just nuking them out of the
On
water.
Instagram on one hand.
Yeah.
Lining up my next hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, anything else, fellas? I mean, we're stringing one along here.
We find a way every time to stay up past midnight when we know we got to be up in like 4 hours.
Yeah, we got to be up real
We
soon.
still got a little bit.
You got some stuff in the tank to talk about?
What you got?
Man,
Depends on where we want this thing to head.
I'm petered out
Talk
too,
about
man.
tomorrow morning or something.
What I'm ready for tomorrow morning, man, is man, I'm ready to hear those wings whistling. As
Be
they
back
line
out
into the
there.
bad
And I'll
boys.
tell you what,
Cup
I'm ready
of
to
coffee.
see. I'm ready to see
that too.
Oakley. I'm ready to see Oakley do
Yeah,
some
dude.
work.
Yeah.
let's talk about Oakley.
That she is a working dog right there.
So, how old's Oakley?
Oakley will be 5 December 12th.
She'll be 5, but she's been hunting with us.
Oh yeah, bro. She,
3 years?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or
4
4
years. You
Yeah.
brought her out your first or
Oh,
her
yeah.
first year.
She's been out here quite a few times.
Trained her in German.
Yeah, in German. Give us a backstory on Oakley.
Yes. All of a sudden, boom, if you have a dog, you know there's not really a perfect time to get a dog, similar to when they say, hey, man, you're never going to be like ready, you know, for a kid. I mean, you obviously want to be in a certain situation. But what I'm saying by that is all of a sudden I was like, you know what? Screw it. I want a dog. I want to get a dog. Get on Facebook. I think I looked up Labs of Arkansas or Chocolate Labs of Arkansas. I can't remember. Get on there. There's 3 of them left. I go over. I can't remember where. I think it was in Cabot maybe. I can't remember where, or BB. I can't remember where I went to go get her, but I remember walking in the house. I put my hand out for one of them, and one of them put their head like in my palm. I was like, I want this one. And the lady was like, well, okay, that was the one we were going to choose if you didn't like, you know, choose it, or if nobody came, we were going to keep that one. I was like, which made me want her even more.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I paid $250 for that dog and walked up out of there.
That's
and
a
it's
steal.
It's been great ever since.
I thought I got a steal on him, man.
Man.
I paid $400 for him. I drove from Jonesboro to Fort
I
Smith.
remember that.
And Fort Smith back. Like
I
a
did it.
10-hour round trip.
I did it same day.
Oh,
same. I
dude.
did the same thing. I went
Brutal.
over there, got her, boom. And then started training her. I got water dog. I watched a lot of the sport dog videos on YouTube. Freddie King does. Man, I got a little aggressive at first because I was excited. You know, I think I was kind of pushing the issue just a little bit because I just wanted to do well. And I'll never forget there was one time where I was training her at one of our blinds over on the Lane Gill. It's already kind of trashy in the front, buck brush. It's extremely hard to hunt a dog out of. And I remember just like getting a little too aggressive and her having trouble getting up the ramp and everything. I had to like go save her. And then like when we got in the blind, I kind of like had to come to Jesus and I was like, all right, we can't do that anymore. I got really lucky that I didn't just like burn her out right there. Anyway, kind of changed my perspective. I really kind of like, you know, just let her have fun. Like just let her do her thing. And then we kind of like started sewing up some loose ends and things like that. And, you know, she kept getting invited back, thank goodness. So
Yeah.
she does work really hard. I'm blessed because one, she's smart. She's extremely driven, but she's super quiet. Doesn't make a noise in the woods. Doesn't make a noise in my truck. Casts really well. But damn, dude, that dog is always happy. Like it's crazy. Every time that dog does anything, she's just happy all the damn time. So I'm blessed for that. But then, yeah, dude, working with her has been fun. And it's just been a consistency thing. A lot of people text me or message me on Instagram, oh, how did you get X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Man, it's just consistency. Or if she's screwing up, she don't get to do it anymore. There's been a couple of times where it's like, hey, if she doesn't, you know, do what I ask her to do, well, guess what? You don't get to go retrieve today.
Playtime's over.
And I've taken it away. And that's changed things. But then also, too, sometimes guys are like, man, my dog won't, you know, go, you know, a certain distance. Well, I'm like, well, have you practiced at a certain distance? Like, has he or she ever gone to that distance before? Because we think, you know, and I used to have the same mentality. You know, you go 20 yards, and then you're like, you cast them on a blind retrieve and you're wanting them to go 60 and they check up at 30 and they still are like, what do you mean? And they've never gone that far. Mm-hmm. So learning that took some time. Man, I don't hardly ever even check her anymore. Like I don't have to do that. When I get the collar out, she gets the most excited. When she hears that collar jingle, she just goes nuts. But man, you talk about a driven dog, and it just took, just being repetitive and really kind of honing in, me being prepared, but then also just kind of like, man, you kind of got to treat them like a kid. Like, if she messes up, yeah, you can reprimand her, but like, we got to redo some things. Like, if she takes off on a blind retrieve and she goes wherever the hell she wants to go, redo. You don't get to do that. I bring her back and we go into a straight line, and she does it okay. But she just gets excited.
Yeah,
but yeah, she's great. Great, best $250 I've ever spent.
So,
No doubt.
so what made you choose training her in German?
Oh yeah, so I went through the police academy. So just kind of been around, working dogs, and then I also wanted to use German because, when you're in the field, multiple dogs, sometimes it's easier just to have, a completely different set of commands.
Well, it's always cool listening to him
It
whenever
is.
we get to hunt with her.
It is just to,
Was it Platz and
yeah,
Sitz? And
Platz is, lay down, and then Decke is like blanket in German, and that's what her place command is. So I'll say Decke, and she'll like get up. Fuß is heel. Sucher is like search, and then Holden is fetch. So yeah, she knows all those terms, man. If I blurt out one of those things, she'll like, okay, and then she'll go search. Or
It's wild.
Or if there's like a bumper in the corner, and I say go Holden, she'll go grab the bumper and know to fetch it up and stuff like that. And Tasia knows how to say it. It's cool.
I tell you what, she's one of the most fun dogs I've seen work in a long time.
Yeah, she has a great time.
It's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah, she genuinely has fun. And
Yeah. And you can see it too.
And even if like she does some crazy stuff, like I really want to ride the line of her kind of being a little out of control but happy,
Right.
than me just being like, "Get over here! What are you doing?" Like,
Kind of like those dudes in up at the Sluicer a few years
Shocking
ago.
their dog.
dude, there's so many guys
Yeah.
out there. Now, don't get me wrong, man. There's also levels to it. Male dogs can be hard headed. Like sometimes you got to give a little bit of hand, spare the rod, spoil the child. Like there's some hard-headed dogs out there. Luckily, with her being a female, she's not necessarily like that. But if you're full-blown just beating the bullshit out of your dog, like that's completely unnecessary. Or just shocking it till it just yelps out of its gourd. Come on.
Yeah, it's like that dog, like we were talking about earlier, now is traumatized.
Oh
Like
my
you think
God,
that
dude.
dog is
It's
going to want to go and have
crazy,
fun.
dude.
Like,
And I've seen a dog. I've hunted with a guy that's got a dog that he trained so hard and just whipped so much. The dog would walk out to get the duck and walk back. It was the most depressing thing
yeah, that's horrible.
I've ever seen in my life. I was like, dude, let that dog go sit in the truck. This is awful. The dog would walk to the duck and walk it back. The most uneventful thing I've ever seen.
Old grocery getter.
It was terrible. Oh, it was so bad. It was already ugly, too. It was like, put that thing back in the truck now, dude. This is terrible. God, it was awful.
What Jay was saying is
poor dog,
where we
man.
hunt at the slough, there's
Yeah.
a guy that hunts back to our west,
long ways away.
pretty good ways off, and you could
And
hear him.
still hear him.
Well, you could hear him
Me,
shoot.
me and Blaine got into this dude.
Oh.
The screaming match. I thought I was going to have to walk on the levee and just go beat the brakes off this guy.
Man.
He was
They would shoot a
destroying
volley,
this dog.
and then you'd hear like him send his dog out.
Yeah.
His dog would get out in the hole, and then he would just yelp, and just shock the piss out of him.
Oh, my
Just
God.
ruining this dog.
1-2 solid minutes.
Yell!
Like,
I'm talking.
oh my
you could hear this
gosh.
dude from where we were yelling at this
screaming
dog.
at this dog, and then just shocking. The dog's just yelping, and then he's like, "Over!" and
Oh,
just.
that's so bad. I can't
And
handle
then
it
they
was-
shoot again.
Blaine,
Same
yeah,
thing.
dude,
Unbelievable.
Blaine was yelling at this dude like, "You're a piece of shit, man! Stop doing that to your dog."
so
We're like in our
It was-
blind hunting, and that guy's like
Yelling at
across the slough.
It's like
and
the-
he's just yelling
Yeah,
back.
it's
and
like the
forth.
video of the deer or the dog. Where it's like
Ezekiel and-
Ezekiel
Yeah.
and Tony. That's what it was
God.
like, dude. Like, what's your name?
Dude, that's
It was-
terrible.
It was
bad.
terrible.
I feel bad. I felt so bad for that dog.
Oh, that dog got wrecked.
There's just no
Absolutely
need for that.
wrecked. No.
Yeah, there's just
I
no
mean,
need
there's
for
a
it.
point where it's like, yeah, discipline's fine, especially when you're
Sure.
in the early stages of training. But it's like when you're having to do that, first off, it's inconvenient as a hunter. Like, I wouldn't want to do that.
God.
Second off, it's like, why even take the dog outside of the house?
Yeah.
Man.
Leave him at the house.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Or just don't have a dog if you're going to treat it like that. I
Man,
mean,
no joke.
It's unbelievable. You're just running every aspect of that dog.
Hell, he's
and
ruining
your
our hunt there for a little while.
Yeah, it was, and we didn't even know
Pretty
the guy,
much almost
like,
every time we had some cupped up birds, we'd hear,
No.
and then just a freaking yelp. That's exactly what it was.
Oh, dude,
back,
that's
back,
terrible,
back.
dude.
Yeah, that's tough.
Never been on a hunt with somebody that did that though. That'd be tough not to like say something to that guy if you're hunting.
Oh, you have to.
You got to.
You have to.
Yeah, you got to be like, hey, brother, or you're like, if he's a part of your camp and doing it, damn, bro, how did you not know that guy that well to do that?
right.
But if he's a guest, nah, brother, you got to leave that dog at the house.
Yeah, it doesn't fly
Nah, we ain't letting you whoop the shit out of your dog around here.
No.
unless he's next.
Man, no,
He was getting pretty close, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, now since
hadn't
you
been-
yelled at the dog, we're going back here on the levee. You and James are going to square up.
damn right.
You want to wrestle?
Yeah, pull a Jackie. All right, you want to wrestle?
Then go kill a deer.
Yep.
I don't think anybody wants the silverback. Old vanilla gorilla.
All right, boys, you want to wrap it up?
I'm ready to
Let's
wrap
wrap
it
it
up.
Good
up.
with it.
Got to get some decoys together, charge batteries.
Yep.
Jeez.
And I promise you, we will see midnight.
Yeah, what time
Happens
is it?
every time.
It is 10:50.
10:50.
I'm seeing midnight. But
Oh, it's going to happen.
At least we don't have a tire to change tonight.
Well,
let's knock
that is
on
a
wood.
good point.
Knock on
we
wood.
did that last year, but yeah, let's wrap it up. Opening day is tomorrow morning. Hopefully, another podcast probably in the next week or two. Be on the lookout for another Canada episode probably coming next week. Hopefully, an opening
Oh,
day.
another one.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully an opening day video from tomorrow.
Yep.
If all things go as planned. But welcome to the podcast, James. Welcome to the
Dude, I'm
podcast,
pumped.
Jay.
Hell yeah, brother.
See.
Hopefully, plenty more to come in the near future.
Yeah. Well, I guess this won't be out before tomorrow morning, but we might see some of y'all 5 o'clock ish. McCrory gas station, couple biscuits,
Damn right.
be rolling out. That place is jumping, dude. Opening morning,
Dude,
for
it is-
sure.
it is the place to
Oh,
be.
Rusty will be there.
Yeah, we'll probably see Rusty.
Yep.
But yeah, y'all be sure to like, subscribe, and be on the lookout for some more episodes coming soon. Check out James over here on Instagram. If he hadn't already reached out to you, he probably will soon.
I've got those auto DMs set up, baby.
Bro, we're
right.
gonna be in the hole tomorrow. James gonna be over there with a notebook, like,
Yep.
got to get with this guy, this guy.
That's right. Yeah, he's Deep River Fit. If you guys are in the Memphis area, be sure to check his gym out.
Also,
Get you a workout
what's
in.
your coffee?
Yeah, Bloodhound Provisions, coffee. Third Wave Coffee Roaster out of Memphis.
Yeah.
From the land, for the land, elevated traditions, baby. I got all my hashtags ready.
There we go.
All right, appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Peace.